All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Huskers Happy Hour, where, well, as you can see, I've got my son. This is going to be such a freaking mistake. But first, as always, let me point out that I am living proof that if everybody doesn't yet have a podcast, just anybody can have one. All right, the weirdo there, I guess, to my right, your left on the screen. You might know him as Mustang 6197 when he occasionally comes in to heckle my ass. This is Drew Kellerson. Drew, say hi to everybody. Let's see what kind of podcast chops you have.
Hi, everybody. I have no podcast, chaps. The
Chops?
only the only video thing. Shut up.
Do
The
you,
only
do you
video
have
thing I
assless
have with
chaps?
anyone is just doing forecast videos for DOT people.
Yeah. So you have no chaps or chops. So at least we know you don't have any assless chaps in the closet there.
I don't
Uh,
think
speak,
so.
Speaking of assless chaps, I know I've told the story on here a few times about how I was hiking with my son in Minnesota, but in the middle of all that, we managed to go watch Matt Rule's first game as a Husker coach. Found one bar that had it on because I think it was DirecTV and
All the
ESPN
other
or
bars didn't have access to
well,
the
they had
channels.
because DirecTV was fighting with Fox because that game was on Fox. And I'll let Mylie in here in a second, but that game was on Fox, and so anybody with DirecTV didn't get it. But we found the one little bar that had Spectrum, but that was about the only game they could get because Spectrum was fighting with ESPN. So anyway,
That's
let
what
me
it
get
was.
let me get Mylie in here. Okay,
What
welcome
the
to
hell is he
You,
doing here?
you. I don't know. He
so
allowed me on. This is his fault.
Oh God, why
folks.
would he do that?
You poor people don't know what you stumbled into tonight. It is Corn Nation nepotism night, where it's like my daughter writes for Corn Nation, and now my son is going to join us for a podcast. He's a little tough to get on because generally this is the beginning of your work night, sort of, isn't it?
Usually, I start at 6 p.m., but
Right.
normally I don't hop on here because I never asked. But I have a hockey
I
game at 10, so.
so there you go. Yeah, because you were talking about coming on at 9, so I was kind of surprised to see you at 8. But the last thing we want here is
No, I
any
said
kind
I'd
of
leave at 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because occasionally have structure here. For the second week in a row, for those of you who weren't here last week, this is basically unstructured. We're about a week away from having to start previewing Utah's team and all that, but we're a couple weeks removed from the end of the Husker season. And these guys actually, the comments have been so great for like the last several weeks. Last week I said, you know what? I'm doing an intro. Then I'm just throwing it and going to do as many comments as I can because I always feel bad about the ones I can't get in. We usually get into one part where I have to skip ahead because I'm about 30 minutes behind on comments because we're actually going through the structure of the show. So real quick, I've got 17 comments. Let me blow through those real quick. And then Mylie is here. Basically, this was not supposed to happen for another week because then we were going to have Mylie explain what a great national championship season this was, and instead she's here to bring on the heartbreak and the flu. Another championship team gets felled by the goddamn flu. That's right, 96 Nebraska, 96 Texas. I'm looking at you, Big 12 championship. Real quick, let's go to the comments, and you guys can jump in on these if you want. Uh, Fred,
Cat.
yeah,
Cat.
Fred's. Oh, there we got a cat. Fred Sacco got in first tonight, and thank God he's not entering the portal. Being you just started on Monday Night Therapy, Fred, you can't enter the portal till after the season, but you're kind of screwed there because Monday Night Therapy just goes year round. I'm the only one with sense to do 3 different podcasts and therefore give myself a couple breaks during the year.
And people
Let's
still
see.
want to listen to you?
It's a
Apparently,
shock,
we
isn't
still
it?
want to talk to him.
Ugh.
Yeah, no shit. You're here.
It's okay. He
You got
forgot about my birthday, so.
no. I didn't forget. I just forgot to tell you.
Dick.
Nebraska volleyball got in the way. So
Dick.
anyway, let's see. David Matney, another one of our regular guys, he got second place, and then Justin Rogie got in for third, and well, third's not best. I get such a medal, be proud of it. One of these days, I've just got to go out and get a bunch of those plastic, medals that go on athletes, 10-year-old athletes' birthday cakes or something, and start mailing these suckers off each week to the winner, during the week, and you guys can hang them off your mantle and shit. Okay,
what are you gonna give him for a prize?
Well, here's Rogie also. Rogie is entering the portal. I guess you can, whatever the hell Louisville's got going on in podcast world, you can join there. And someone, is that Va Poop? Is that short for Virginia Poop? Is poop short? Is poop short for something other than just poop? But whatever. Oh, guess it. Here's the thing.
Virginia.
It's just V. I don't know. It's Va Poop or Virginia Poop. Maybe he just hates Virginia Tech
or something else.
Possibilities. If there's a big story there, you can always come in and comment, and we'll talk about poop in Virginia. It's bowl season. What the hell else are we going to talk about? Here's a guy that literally loves both my kids. There's something wrong with him. Pit Snipe Huskers here saying hi to Dr. Drew. Drew's just like swerving back and forth in his chair, like kind of on and off the screen, and yeah, he's as weird as you think he is, folks. Let's see, and we have.
This is your fault.
Well, yeah, but geez, beyond the sperm, you should have found a little more to make.
I have a moving chair. I have to use the moving chair.
You do. You just do whatever makes you happy, man. You're a guest here tonight. Here's MJS 73. And God, this is one of the themes for tonight. I'm here for the saddest happy hour in college sports, because this has just been, what ended up like a 7-5 season in football. This has just been the wildest season for drama. Matt Rule, it's like James Franklin is fired. They're going to steal Matt Rule. This can't happen. Matt Rule is Penn State's #1 pick. Matt Rule gets an extension. Yay. And then we finish 1-3. Why the hell did we give Matt Rule an extension? And then Dylan's going to enter the portal. No, he's not. He's at practice. Dylan entered the portal. Damn it. But the day before that, Husker volleyball lost. Jesus.
Special guest.
Oh my God, it's Connor. Is he coming out of the bathroom? Because if that's the case, I'm glad it only smells like shit in your house.
Shower.
Comes out farting, but as far as you know. Anyway, moving along, we got Justin Rogie saying hi to Drew the Sun. Yeah, Pit Snipe. It sounds like a doctor. Let's run with that, y'all. It's not a doctor, not even a dentist doctor. Like they're, always making fun of who was it? Ed Helms in The Hangover, and then John Cryer on 2.5 Men, or I guess he was the chiropractor there, but they were always being told, "You're not really doctors." Uh-oh. You knew Fred couldn't hear Assless Chaps and not chime in. I arrived at Assless Chaps. Yep, this is the right show. You got that right. Oh, hang on, Fred. If you're in first, that means you just got to hang there and log in and sit there. You got to stay first. So
no one.
Come on, it was probably 1 a.m. or something last night. If you want to be a winner, you got to be a winner. Stay logged in. Justin says, I say it's a celebratory happy hour. I have a feeling I might know where he's going with that, just in case he's part of the I always hated Dylan Raiola cartel. I'm not thinking, unless you hate Dylan Raiola, I'm not seeing a celebration this last weekend. Although we did get what looks like a pretty damn good offensive line coach. We're taking a shot out of a mid-major, San Diego State, for our defensive coordinator, who I think he took him from 92nd in the nation in total defense to 6th in the total nation, or 6th in the nation. Now, here's the thing: for all of our inability to stop the run, and complaints about Butler here and there, we still finished, I think, 23rd in the country in total defense. So, if he can take us from that to 6th, I'm not complaining. but it was just basically one part of that defense that didn't work. We ended up #2 in pass defense. And then we had the really weird red zone numbers, where if you got in our red zone, you were virtually guaranteed to score. We were 133rd out of 136 or division, maybe it was 135th out of 136 D1 teams in red zone inefficiency, I guess we'd call it. Only one time did a team fail to score on us inside the red zone, but we were 13th in the country in fewest trips to the red zone. So in MJS, the assless chaps are back. Wishes he could talk about assless chaps with his dad. And well, it's a special kind of family, guys. What can I say? Thoughts on that, children?
Years of trauma.
Yeah.
Years of trauma.
It was. I agree. You guys did cause me years of trauma.
Oh yeah, yeah. You,
Okay.
yeah.
Bob Poop says Matt Rule for world president. And I'll say this: we had Dana Holgerson on in the press room with us today. He's always entertaining, but good stuff from him. And then had several of the players had Elijah Pritchett, Dane Key. Who else did we have? Oh, we had Isaiah Mosey and Makai Nelson. Both of them were a lot of fun. You would not really think they were like a true freshman and a redshirt freshman. Mosey just you wouldn't have guessed it was his first, a true freshman's first time in front of the press corps. He was very much at home, fun to listen to. Nelson just a few times lit up the room. He's a really enthusiastic kid. And then Tyler Kanak, like none of these guys had ever been in front of us before. And Tyler Kanak, he's a junior. He's probably going to start in Spindler's spot. And they let him go a little longer because he just was a really interesting dude, really smart dude. Offensive lineman, so really big dude, but just really thoughtful. Kind of had that wise beyond his years vibe going. We'll talk about him a little maybe tonight. But one thing they all kind of had in common was that Matt Rule's a guy you want to play for. He's basically because it's like he's obvious he cares about you. He's one of those types that really listens to you. He wants you to succeed, and he considers making you a better person as important, if not more important, than making you a better player. And the players notice and appreciate that. So I'll throw that in there because maybe you can find worse guys for world president, and a world president never has to screw up a crucial in-game decision, which, let's face it, Matt's had a few of those. But you know who else was really known for having no game or clock management for years, and they stuck with him, was Andy Reid, and he, figured it out and got some Super Bowls. So who's to say Matt Rule can't figure that out? Pittsnight says, we've decided we don't like your sister's fiance, Drew, because he ain't been on. What say you before Mylie gets here? But Mylie got here.
I don't like him either.
And guess what? And he's been on now. So there we go.
He bullies me because he's bigger.
See, that's how good I frickin' am. Are you reading this? I knew this. I got Connor on before I even read your question. That's why I'm the best.
That's why I read it. I read it and I texted him and I said, "Come here," and then he came in here.
No. That wasn't it at all. It was me. It was all me. Quiet, you will be. Shut up, show you. No, good for you, Mylie.
Hurry, show Mylie the picture of Darth Vader so she cries.
Oh, shut up.
Oh yeah. This is probably about the time she pops in. Stop talking about Mylie. Let's see. We got Ed Shada, and he's just going to be bringing this realism. And damn it, 3 years in, you fired how many coaches? Well, that makes fired. I think that makes just 2. He's fired. No, Ed Foley. Ed Foley was a fire. He just demoted Satterfield, and then now he's fired Raiola and Butler. I'll say this about him, though, because remember, there were guys that didn't fire their coaches that we just wanted to rip their heads from their bodies. Bill Callahan, Kevin Cosgrove. Let's face it, Papuchis became that guy for Bo Pelini. Frank's entire staff he held on to for a while. And as it turned out, it was him, not his staff. But, it's like, so we got to make up our mind. Do we want to – he at least has an ability that some of our previous coaches didn't. And how many guys on Frost's staff, it turned out, weren't quite as good as advertised. So, hey, he sees the problem and tries to fix it. He loves these guys. He wishes them the best, but he does something these guys didn't do. He says, I have to make decisions that I believe are best for the team and the program. So he's done that. It could be worse. We could still be sitting here going into a year 4, maybe in worse shape without Holgerson, with Satterfield still as our OC, still Donovan. Maybe we never even get to Butler. Well, I guess Tony White left. We didn't fire him. And it turned out Butler's 1 year was pretty close to Tony White's 2 years. But anyway, what is this? Pantless Pit, been drinking, bro. I think somebody called him Oh, no, Pitless Pants. Justin up there called him, hey, it's Pitless Pants.
I think they're still talking about the assless chaps.
Yeah, probably.
Or
sometimes
it's been a bit.
I won't, you'll see me sometimes scrolling here because I'm not going to try and follow every conversation, and you guys are welcome to have your own chats. Every now and then I'll read something and I'll just go like, this is what happens when you jump in the middle of a conversation and see something about assless chaps, I guess. Tell you what, right now, before we keep Mylie here till 9 o'clock before letting her talk about volleyball, let's start with the biggest heartbreak of the weekend. Really, just to start with, there's a few other things I would ask you, but just to start with, what happened Sunday?
God, I mean, what went right on Sunday?
I'm happy I was asleep.
Well,
yeah.
Texas A&M had to serve sometimes, so that worked out for us because their serving was horrible.
Yeah,
They missed quite a few.
Andy wasn't on top of her game. I don't know if she's sick or not, but she was not playing good at all. Bergen looked like she was a ghost because she was so sick. It would have been nice to have Campbell Flynn, but she'd broken her pinky in practice.
Well, and then Allie Scheck hurt herself right before the game, didn't she?
Yeah, Allie Check.
Check.
She tripped on a ball or something.
So we just had no players.
Oh yeah,
or like no starters.
Yeah, we had none of our second off the bench players
who we desperately needed.
Yeah, which we usually don't. But
right.
Of course, when we do, we can't.
Yeah, I mean, and it looked like, I was hoping actually that Andy was sick, not because screwy, I wish she had the flu, but she just was a shadow of herself. Yeah, she was missing wide open. Yeah, go ahead.
She just looked like she was maybe intimidated a little bit after she had been blocked the first couple times, and all of her shots were just off. I mean, Texas A&M's middle blockers were eating her up, but she just had nothing in her, or she couldn't adjust either.
Yeah, like one thing I felt like, our weakness was we just kept. It's not only that they were blocking us, and maybe this is a reflection of Bergen having the flu, but they just kept getting set into the double block because it's kind of tough for them to, have multiple double blocks ready to go along the line. And it seemed like we just kept going to the double block and we were wailing away right into two people just over the net over and over. And then their weakness was they kept missing service errors left and right.
Yeah.
And it felt like that was the difference in the fifth set was we kept hitting into the blocks and they got all their serves in.
I barely watched the fifth set. I couldn't watch it.
Oh, no.
I couldn't watch it.
It felt like that was the time to start watching because we'd won 2 in a row, including that crazy 37-35.
Okay, I stopped watching when it was, I think, 6-3, 7-3, something like that. I was
going to say 6-3
because
in a 15-point match that felt like we were down 6 or 7.
I was like, fuck, we're done.
Sounds like me back during the Minnesota game. I think Minnesota got their 7th sack in the fourth quarter. And I was like, I'm done. I turned the game off.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny what you just said there, Mylie, because you didn't do the post game write up, did you?
Nope.
Well, because I feel like "fuck we're done" would have just been the wrong title to put on the website. I asked John about that once. I asked him about that once. I said, like how much cussing will they put up with in the articles? Yeah, I think I was getting ready to write an Iowa recap maybe. And he said, I don't really think they care much about the articles, but if you start dropping, cuss words in the titles, then you'll hear from them.
Yeah.
They don't really want that on the homepage or anything. Let's see.
I think Andy was set to set a school record for her hitting percentage this season, but since she only hit, I think it was .145, she dipped under that school record, so she didn't set it.
Oh, because that school record's insane. At the time, she was like at 486 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like somebody hits that for a game, you're like, whoa. And then, that was one of the crazier stats I'd seen in a season full of crazy and stats. Now, the last time I felt like it really was just crushing was Texas. That's again, we weren't undefeated for the year, but we hadn't been beaten in a while, and then they didn't like beat us in an exciting 5-set. They just crushed us. And I think it was
last year was pretty awful too, with the reverse sweep in the semifinals.
Yeah, and he didn't like that, but I felt like Texas was worse. Just because it's Texas and there is no B or C, but the similarity in that Texas game and in this match is that when Nebraska gets knocked on their heels, her freshman and junior year, Harper Murray's been the one to just try and drag them to victory, because she had you said 28 kills,
something like that, yeah.
And she's the one that just seems to be firing them up. Let's go, like more than anyone else. She's the one who, when they're up against the wall, when adversity hits, her reaction is fight back, but fight back with a clear head. And even after the game, all of a sudden it's like she's kind of mom, trying to comfort all the players, and we'll get this back. And I caught where they interviewed her or interviewing her, and they brought. Well, they brought up that press conference. We're gonna win 3 more, and she kind of laughed at that. She's like, yeah, it hasn't worked out, but she took it in stride. Where that might have really pissed a few people off.
I mean, she was a completely different person at that point when she said that, and people still like hold that against her. They still hold her DUI against her. I'm like, you know what? That was so long ago, and you're probably a fat old bastard behind your phone that's probably gotten a DUI yourself, saying this about a 20-year-old college kid. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, let's talk about, because we talked today. Really feel. Like my buddy Trap, he was texting me about some of the stuff going on online today, and I think on the main board on Huskers Illustrated. And just here they are. They're bringing up the Charlie Kirk stuff, and they've hated her since then. So yeah, don't start texting me political shit. I'm just saying, here's one thing she said that set people off against her, and they would try to pit her and Becca against each other because they're politically on opposite sides. And they actually just started making videos like, guys, we don't have a beef. This, we're teammates. We love each other. And then you saw Harper really because Becca's done, right? Wasn't this her senior year? Yeah. So she's just doubly crushed because she doesn't get another crack at it. And there's Harper, like, has her back, comforting her, said she is going to be remembered, as one of the best players to come through this program. She has, she's got nothing to be ashamed of. So it's just like, it's really funny sometimes how the kids have a lot more maturity than the adults at times. And we were talking today about how they started going after on Huskers Illustrated. Then my friend goes, well, it's like Harper made a TikTok and is just absolutely trolling old guys, old guys that hate her, because she was saying stuff like, well, I hate not getting a national title this year, but I hate this color of my nails even more, or something.
No, she was like,
what was that?
She's like, I don't know what's worse, losing or the fact that my nails look like this.
Yeah, and just
broken nails and stuff.
It's true though. Mylie and I are more mature than Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a low bar, guys. I hate to tell you that.
Well, and then she said, well, since we lost, I get to go home early, and Lincoln food sucks, and I love Ann Arbor food.
Yeah. And having been to Ann Arbor a couple times, and I think I was there a couple years ago, Yeah, she's definitely trolling you.
Yeah.
It's like the middle of Michigan ain't that special. Somebody was comparing like Ann Arbor, how somebody at Washington and how like I think they're trying now to like I don't know if this is just the fans talking it up, but Michigan trying to get Jed Fish to come coach, leave Washington to come coach them, and I'm like, well, you know what? Michigan's football program is definitely in a higher up place than Washington's, but holy crap, the money better be stupid if you're going to move from Seattle to Ann Arbor. Because Seattle's just, I bet, I went to Seattle here this last spring, and Seattle's fantastic.
It also seems like you have to be a bit of a creep to coach at Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get it. I mean, it seems between Michigan State and Michigan, because Michigan had their own doctor, and now it's Sharon Moore just losing his damn mind. It's like, okay, you get fired, and the reason it happened was she broke up with him. And if he just maybe texts a little, maybe if he like, drunk texts a little too much, she just ignores it, it goes away. But apparently it was texting, calling, banging on the door. So that's when she went to the administration, and just that, so that apparently, it was like that, oh, shock that like most everybody had known this was going on, known about it for a few months after it had gone on for several years. And so she told them like, and now I broke it off and now he's harassing me. And so then kind of pulled the trigger a little quickly before really getting his side of the story. But I think just because they knew it was already going on and now it's out there, it's like, okay, you're a married coach having an affair, you can't stay.
Well, they may
And
have
then
pulled it early, but then he immediately went to her place
Right.
and got arrested. So
Well, that's what I said. That's what I was going to say is he gets fired and then doubles down by breaking in, threatening her, threatening to kill himself with,
kitchen
it's so hard.
knives and
No, butter knives.
yeah.
The kitchen knives at least makes it sound like it's a steak knife or something. But yeah, I'm trying not to laugh because it's a serious situation. But threatening himself with like scissors, fine, but butter knives. That's where you want to use the old joke. What are you going to do? Spread yourself to death?
Well, he apparently he did spread himself.
Okay.
Okay, stop that. That's enough out of you.
God.
But okay, come on, guys. Michigan has serious problems here. But yeah, I'm like, can't that state, the two schools in that state, go like 3 or 4 years without some sort of sexual like scandal? I don't know. Let's just my recommendation is Jed Fish is a fine place to start. And Michigan started defending themselves because they're like, stop hiring Michigan men. And Sharon Moore, and what they meant was they hired him from in-house off the staff. He was already on the staff as a coordinator. Don't make any staff jokes. And but they thought they were free because they're like, no, he played at Oklahoma, so he's not a true Michigan man. Okay, idiots. Let's not hire Michigan men. Let's not hire grads, because let's face it, nice national championship Harbaugh, but this guy had already been suspended multiple times before they even got to the cheating part of it. So there's another guy. It's like, yeah, you won. You kind of left in scandal. A national championship. Michigan. They are. They're 100% fine with that. We won a title, and they think somehow getting all their being found guilty and having their money taken from them, all their money they made that season, basically, instead of having the championship stripped and all that, they took that as we're absolved, we're innocent. No, you weren't. But yeah, I think going outside of your current staff and your graduates and your Michigan men, top to bottom, is the way to do that. Make it the best fit you can. Obviously, like Rich Rodriguez years ago didn't work for whatever reason, but go outside of Michigan. Just Jesus.
Can I answer a question in the comments?
What's that?
Can I answer a question in the comments?
No.
You may.
No.
Someone asked, is it true that Bergen Riley played the Texas A&M game with the flu? She did. She also played the Kansas match with the flu as well.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't even work from my desk with the flu.
I mean, I played a game with the stomach flu.
Oh God.
You played a few games with a lot of illnesses.
And then I played some games with mono as well,
Yeah.
not knowing I had it.
I had
It's
the
not
stomach
fun.
flu.
So the
Yeah,
fact that she pulled out 2 games where I mean, she looked very good against Kansas. Texas A&M was a little more shaky, but the fact that she went out and did what she did, feeling like shit like that, is pretty damn good. And she's an AVCA finalist for Player of the Year as well. She's the only person that's a finalist that isn't in the Final Four.
Okay. And one other thing I want to throw in there in volleyball. Well, I'm trying to figure out, and Dr. Abby, something that you guys might know on Twitter, had Whitney Lowenstein at Texas, and she played, I think, maybe 5 games this year and 2 games last year, announces she's transferring again.
Yeah,
Dr. Abby, but Dr. Abby goes, well, she played in 21 and 22 for Nebraska, and then she played in 24 and 25 for Texas.
Yeah, she submitted like a submitted paperwork or whatever to get another year of eligibility for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why.
And I'm assuming that's 22 when she quit in the middle of the season at Nebraska.
No, she didn't quit in the middle of the season. She played 21, 22, 24, 25.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they only really play in that year, so I'm not calling it. Yeah, she played in 2000.
She never quit in the middle of a season.
She played in 2021.
21,
right? Freshman
22,
year.
21.
2020, but 2022 she leaves just before the end. She waited until after the.
Yeah.
Okay, so she left the team after the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, well, still, then I guess I don't understand where she's getting the.
Maybe she left a couple matches early, but that doesn't deem like.
So I'm just trying to figure out where she gets an extra season.
What I'm wondering is, like, at Texas, she barely played, maybe less than 10 matches each year. Yep. So maybe she's trying to use that as her case. But yeah, there's no reason she should get another year.
Yeah, I say volleyball.
She wasted her last 2 seasons at a school that, I mean, she knows it's Nebraska's rival, so that's probably why she went there to start. And she went to a school that gets, top recruits in the country. And so she's going to have to fight for her spot, and she never won it because she wasn't as good as the other girls. So I don't see why she would get a 5th year.
Right. And my whole point is that, like, softball, I know softball and volleyball are the 2 that jump to mind, and it's going to change, I think, in about a year from now or less. But right now they are sports where if you take the field for, like, let's say in softball, 1 pitch, or for 1 service in volleyball, that's it. That's a year. That's the rule. And I don't think that's why I don't know if you can even get medical hardships in those, because let's say you play half the season.
Taylor Lander got medical hardship.
Okay, so maybe she got a medical hardship is all I'm thinking.
Who, Taylor or Whitney?
Whitney.
I mean, there's no reason she should get one, though. She wasn't injured, really.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to talk about Whitney anymore. Yeah. That's way too much time on the program. I was just going to bring up that it seems like she's played her 4 years, so I'm not sure where she's getting a 5th.
Texas also has a big transfer in Aiden Ames, and Aiden Ames was originally committed to Nebraska before decommitting and committing to Texas. So
traitor.
That would be a very good pickup.
We're getting her back.
Okay. That would be a really good pickup for Nebraska, but I think it would lead to Kenna and maybe Minaya. I think Minaya would stay, but I think Kenna Coggle would definitely transfer out if we were.
Would that be a good trade?
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen Kenna Coggle play.
Yeah.
She redshirted. So.
Yep.
But
so,
I mean,
anyway, something Drew just said, though, that this is the reason you don't talk like that anymore. Like, hey, she decommitted from Nebraska and went to Texas. Traitor. You don't do that anymore because you can get them
transfer everywhere now.
Right back. Yeah, it's like because there were a lot of coaches, and Urban Meyer was notably kind of one that would shit on you if you went with another school. He'd be happy to tell you what a horrible mistake you made.
I don't think
Urban Meyer
is the pinnacle of.
No, but he's an example. But it's not just him. There were a lot of coaches because they all players that say told like the Tom Osborne days. Never crapped on anyone who didn't choose the Huskers. He wished him well, thanked him for consideration. So he was ahead of his time as far as just not blowing up at kids because you're angry they didn't choose you. And famous story for him is, you had Jason and Christian Peter play for him. Well, they had a younger brother, Damian, And Damien, I think, was bigger than either those two monsters. And Damien chose Notre Dame over Nebraska. And they, Lou Holtz is still the coach at Notre Dame. And so, Osborne's like, well, you know, good on you. I hope it works out for you. The best of luck and all that sort of thing. Well, before Davian ever plays that summer before, I think it was like there was a diving accident. He jumped into a lake, hit his head on a rock, paralyzed. Well, I think it was like neck down. So he's done, done for the walking for life. Obviously done with football. And Lou Holtz never said a word, never called him even, let
Oh,
alone visited him. Yeah, Jason Peters has gone on. I heard an interview with him once, and you can still hear that. If Lou Holtz caught fire, he wouldn't waste pissing on him to put him out. Because yeah, he said because he's like who the guy that was constantly visiting Damien in the hospital was Coach Osborne, and said if he could ever get moving around or whatever, that he could come to Nebraska. They'd get him a scholarship. They'd make him a student assistant, and they'd take care of him, which was seemed like a lot more than Lou Holtz just not even bothering to call him. Good Catholic Lou Holtz and all, who I've heard is just you get him away from a camera, and it's just one of the worst people you'll ever want to meet. It just that did go into his coaching career as well. Every team Lou Holtz coached for, he left on probation except for William and Mary. But NC State, Arkansas, Minnesota, Notre Dame, South Carolina, all under a lot of or probation for a lot of violations after Lou Holtz has been there doing things the right way. Screw you, Granny.
Can I
All
answer
right.
one more question before I leave?
You may.
no.
Okay. Shut up. Same person asked who can we get in the transfer portal to replace losing Landfair and Alec? Landfair, I think her name is Jaden Robinson. I think she's coming in this next season, but I've heard she's pretty good. She's like Harper Murray. So she would be a good replacement. Plus, for now, we still have Skylar Pierce. She could also be a good replacement. For Alec, from the portal, Aiden Ames, but if we're sticking to just what's on our roster, Manaya is going to replace her if we don't end up getting Aiden Ames.
What position does Siegler play? Tara Siegler?
Terea.
Terea?
Yeah, she's outside. She would replace
Outside,
Landfair.
okay.
When Taylor got injured in a match and she just sat out the rest of it just for precaution, Sigler started playing 6 rotations, so she's most likely going to be Landfair's replacement, which is why I can see Skylar Pierce hitting the portal.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Cool. Trying to think. I think I got you. Oh, Justin Rogie. This isn't the first time this has happened on this show with not wearing the Husker bling, but wants to know, is Mylie wearing a Georgia sweater?
Maybe.
Yeah, we're related through an uncle's marriage, as I've told you before, to Gunner Stockton. But even then, my father went to Georgia. My uncle was just a lifetime Georgia crazy fan. So this is a part Georgia family. With
I mean,
with me, I
you're
always
basically a Florida man.
well, I was born there.
Yeah, it makes you
Yeah,
a Florida man.
Yeah, they got me the hell out of there before I could say anything other than food. I think I was like, I don't even know if I was 2 yet. I remember nothing about Florida, and that's just fine. Yeah, born in St. Augustine, but no, got out of there. I actually lived in Utah and New York and North Carolina, but I lived in those 4 states for a combined 13 years maybe. And so because it was like about every 3 years, and then on to the next Park Service job. But I've been in Nebraska since I was 13 years old, so I think I can call Nebraska home now. I think I can say I'm from here. I'm sure as hell not from Florida.
Look at the
But
most recent comment, Dad.
What's that?
Look at the most recent comment.
Is that
Let me
Connor?
go.
I see the Dallas logo.
Holy cow!
How do you feel about that
Nebraska
Vikings
better
game,
than
Connor?
Georgia. What's that flag supposed to be? Is that supposed to be the Georgia?
Scotland? What is
Is
that?
that I don't know. Is that actually the Georgia state flag or something?
Oh, it's the country Georgia's flag, probably.
Soviet Georgia. Okay, there you go. Nebraska. Yeah, but I bet we could kick Soviet Georgia's ass in football. We'll give them
No, they're
that.
not
Hey,
Soviet anymore. They hate Russia.
well, you know what I mean. Yeah, Georgia. But yeah, hey, we're ready to take on a lot of people. Nebraska, I think, twice this year beat Army and Rifle, and that, to me, that means something. You know, if you're shooting better than the boys at West Point, and by God, yeah, come get us. You know, well, yeah, you fat Michigan gravy seals.
Come
Screw
take
you.
our corn.
You want to come take a literal shot at Nebraska? You just remember we can outshoot the Army. All
Okay,
right. Anything else?
Stranger Things.
Anything else from volleyball? Where do you think we'll be ranked to start next season?
I don't know. Probably around 5th, I'm assuming.
Okay.
I think the 4 teams in the Final Four will be 1 through 4.
In preseason? I mean, I know we'll be 5th at the end of this season.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Because I don't know who other teams have coming in. So,
that's true.
Yeah, at the end of this season will be probably 5. Because
Gotcha.
probably we're the best. I think we're the best team that lost in the regional finals. So I guess there's Texas too. Who knows? 5 or 6 around there.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Mylie, I'll let you get going. What'd you say you wanted to watch?
Stranger Things.
Were you trying to say Stranger Things?
Yes, I said Stranger
Say
Things.
Stranger
It's-
Things. You're just old and can't hear.
Yeah, no shit. It sounded like Franger things.
Oh, eat it.
I thought you sounded like a puppy trying to say, I want to watch Stranger Things.
Sit and spin.
That's right. Oh,
Sit and
all right,
spin.
then. Right back at you, son. Yeah, for those of you who haven't started watching Brockmeyer yet, that's another. He actually starts making fun of one of the hitters because he's calling the games over the PA. And it's this little skinny guy, and he's talking about how, well, if you're feeling a stiff breeze out in left field, that's because John Elton has gone down swinging 3 times before now, and he hits a home run, and he steps on home plate and goes like up at Brockmeyer in the booth, and Brockmeyer goes, oh, really? Well, right back at you, son.
I feel like we
So-
watched like most of the first season of Brockmeyer going to and from Minnesota before I moved up here.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I'm signing off. Goodbye.
It's special.
Bye, Mylie.
We'll see you later, Mylie. Thank you.
I'll see you at Christmas.
Oh God. Ugh.
Unless the
Who wants
Subaru
to come to our
explodes on the
family
drive down,
Christmas?
then maybe not.
Oh, geez.
We have
All
fun.
right.
Hillary and Grandma Pat just judge us. Okay, bye.
That's because you never stop being weird.
It's fun.
Yeah, I know. For you. Well, here's the thing.
For us
And-
3.
And talk to Connor. When you get like disgusting and cuss too much and too many F-bombs in front of your grandmother, for some reason it's adorable when you do it. But when Connor
It's
starts
horrible
trying
when
to,
Connor does it.
yeah, like when he wouldn't stop talking about vomit for about half an hour and nobody was laughing, you've got to be in charge of that. You've got to be in charge of that. Yeah, Connor. All right,
The
you
fact
have a
that
talk with him.
The fact that I've been alive for 26 years and they haven't gotten used to it yet, they need to
You're
get
getting
used to
closer to 30 with
it. Oh,
me.
fuck off. You're like 28.
And just to be clear, guys, she was not doing this when she was 8, so it's not been 26 years of that.
Vomit.
This
Okay, it's
this
been
started. This
Solid 10 years, probably.
It
Yeah, it's
started
been-
when she hit Papo in the mouth and chipped his tooth with a metal ball.
That was a long
that's
time
true.
ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh well. Anyway, you guys chew on that for a while. Mylie, get out of here. We're gonna start going through some comments here. And yes, we love you too.
Goodbye.
I got another 20 or so minutes in me before I have to leave.
Okay.
That's what she said. Bye.
Excuse you?
Bye. All right. Yeah, another Class A performance from Mylie. We go from the pain of losing to volleyball to the time where she chipped her grandfather's tooth with a metal ball. And
How old was
Thank
she? I think
God.
She was, what, like 3 or 4 when she did that?
yeah, that was pretty young. She didn't start the cussing and the
That was until
Yeah,
after high
and-
school, I don't think.
like the really descriptive, disgusting shit, in front of the grandparents. I think till she was probably like, no, I think that was more like college.
Yeah,
then
no,
she
that
felt-
was a, that
she
was a
felt like
college thing.
Yeah, even though we're paying for a lot of that, she still thinks I'm free now. But
Yeah, she was like,
whatever.
I'm an adult. I can do this. Technically, I mean, she got away with it, so I guess.
There we go. All right, let's see. Let's get back into some comments here. Before we do that, I just want to tell you, like, all the shit kind of going on, and then you guys could add it, and we'll get through what we can. Heck, it's only 45 minutes. My God, sometimes with Mylie, that feels like over an hour and a half. I'm just waiting to see if she's still listening, and I get a fuck you text or something. All right. Obviously, we had the next we covered volleyball. Obviously, the next day, Dylan announces his transfer, and I guess I'll tell you this from the players interviewed today. Some fans, even though I didn't think I didn't know. First of all, I didn't claim to know ever. I'd always say I don't know, but neither do any of you. The way it looks to me is he's acting like a guy who wants to staying involved in all the team activities before the bowl and all the bowls. And then I guess about a week, I guess it was like when did they announce it? Like Sunday. And I guess a few days before that he had like left. Well, he was going back home for the weekend because Dayton's in the high school playoffs. So that it might have been as simple as that. But he wasn't acting like a guy that's trying to sneak out on his teammates. It sounded like you'd be surprised. The teammates were like Dana Holgerson was like, I love the guy. I loved working with him. And you can tell when it's they're talking like they've been told to say something, especially players, because then they just kind of mutter everything, God, I hope I don't say something wrong. But Dana had always just gushed over Dylan. It was obvious those two like had a thing. Had a connection, and he did. He seemed genuine. He's like, it's like these things happen. This is college football today. You got to do what you think is best for you. And this was what all the players said. The players, because a lot of people have been trying to demonize the family, and just the one person I know who knows the family had said, well, here, they're all going, oh, and you got Dominic pulling the strings and he's a helicopter dad. And all I heard from his recruitment, and this probably more explains, committing to Ohio State, committing to Georgia, then committing to Nebraska. That doesn't sound like dad's in control. That sounds like exactly what I was told. And what it kind of played out like was that Dominic let him do him. He's like, look, he knew I'm the one who went to Nebraska. But he's been in the NFL, so he's seeing both sides of it. And all he was doing, I guess, is, hey, I'll offer advice if asked, but this is his decision, not mine. And listening to the teammates talk as they talk about, no, Dylan's fantastic. It's like, always going to be a friend. And they all kind of put in, and his family was always great to me. Like his family was always super nice. And then they all go, but we know this is the way things go. We've got teammates here who've come from elsewhere. These guys, you have to make the decision you believe is right for you. I got in a big fight. Well, I don't want to say a fight. It was a good argument. It wasn't like a fight. But there was a guy, I'm old school. It's like, well, yeah, but I like the guys when they stuck around. And it's like, well, that's because the only option for leaving came with a 1-year suspension. Or I'm sorry, lose a year of eligibility and sit out a year. I'm sorry, that's a 1-year suspension. So yeah, you're not, I'm telling you, these guys from the 70s and 80s and 90s would be transferring and taking as much NIL as they could. They just didn't have that choice back then. So these players they just seem very mature and realistic about it. I love the guy. He was great when he was here. He was a fantastic leader, but he's a quarterback. Quarterbacks leave. 75% of quarterbacks transfer who haven't started by their junior year. Now, obviously he had, but even those, it's like if they see, it's obvious he wasn't really fitting the offense. I laugh at people who say, oh, he stunk it up. It's like, guys, he was 4th in the country in completion percentage, threw for 2,000 yards in 8.5 games, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The year before was 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and I think in the low 60s. So yeah, you can't say there wasn't improvement. And they were basically 6-2 with him, and then went, one, because let's say they were 6-2 going to Southern Cal. He got injured, left the game with the lead. They lost it without him, so they went 6-2 with him, 1-3 without him. like to have him back, but I can also see where they probably want a more mobile quarterback too, or somebody who'll get rid of the ball quicker. And here's a wild thing. The odds came out today, just who the bookies think are the likely landing spots for 4 of the top portal guys. And for Dylan, his top 4 were Oregon, Miami, Alabama, and Arizona State.
I could see
Okay,
him going to Miami,
that's
especially if
the
they're
only one.
losing. Yeah.
No, good. I like that you said that because Cam Ward had some mobility, but that was basically a straight drop back offense. But Oregon, I think I might be missing somebody, but the
I don't think
last
they
quarter.
start him over their current QB.
Well, he's leaving.
Not that I know much about him, but it seemed like they did perfectly fine with him.
Yeah, but I think he's out though. I think he was a senior because he transferred to
Gotcha.
Oregon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's a spot there. But I don't think Oregon's had just a stationary, let's say non-dual threat QB since Ryan Leaf's little brother, and that's probably over 10 years ago. Bama, Ty Simpson's a junior. I haven't heard.
He's not starting over Bama's QB.
No, and I don't think he's leaving for the NFL either for his senior year.
No.
So he's not. Yeah, he's not going. Well, yeah, he's not going to start over him, who had a very good year. Like their passing attack was far more effective than their rushing attack this year, and he's not going to sit out a year behind Ty Simpson. If you're transferring with 2 years left, or maybe one, if he has one good year, and then he opts for the draft, and then Arizona State, that was Sam Levitt, and then our old friend Jeff Sims. So Arizona State sounds like they like a mobile quarterback. So of the 4 guys, the odds makers like Miami's the only one, but I could see that making sense. And then I heard Wisconsin, and obviously, they don't do much with the mobile quarterbacks, so they're saying, why
they don't
not
do much at all?
Right, and that's the thing is offensively, Jesus, they were awful this year. I mean, it was
Well, I
rare
guess
when they
Fickles tried to put an air raid in at Wisconsin, so I guess it could make slight sense, but I still don't think he'd go to Wisconsin.
Right, that seems like a fine fit for Wisconsin, and he can definitely walk in there and start. But do you want to prove your chops? I don't know. I'm just not sure what's going on at Wisconsin. If it's just a failed running school, I couldn't even hardly tell what they were trying to do against us last year when we ripped them up. Yeah, but I tell it, they got some defense though. So I don't know.
I feel like Miami would be the best. I don't know who's coming up behind. Though I forget his name. Sid. Sid from Ice Age. But I don't know who's coming up behind him, but I feel like Miami would be the best option for him.
Yeah, seems like it. So let me run down these. I'm gonna try and do this in under 5 minutes, and then if you guys want to talk about it, great.
Craig just texted me, "Is that a Ron Jeremy mustache?" So I guess he's watching.
Yeah, but Ron Jeremy doesn't have that neck beard you've got. No, I'm talking about your neck beard.
Oh yeah, you
got
that?
You got the Kyle Orton neck beard going. Kyle Orton, famous
give it another week or so. It'll grow in. It'll grow in.
No, Kyle Orton was like a famous just mid-level quarterback for the Bears, and yeah, everybody just called him the neck beard because he was like in his mid-late 20s like you, and still couldn't get it up on the face. Anyway, here's the guys that are open for us. It's like Kyle Swarsby, our old buddy from Cincinnati. Let's see, DJ Lagway of Florida. Sam Levitt
here at some point.
Aiden Childs. You know who's in for one more year and sure look good against us is Nico Iamaleva. He throws pretty well and he's definitely mobile.
I think I'd like Sorsby or Levitt out of.
I'm just throwing him out there. Sorsby, he's like the odds on for Texas Tech right now. Somebody said his girlfriend just transferred down there for volleyball. I said, bring him on here and let him meet our volleyball players, man. Pimping ain't easy, brother. Let's take a look. That would make for some amazing children who, no matter who, it's like, and probably half of those girls would be better athletes than him, and he's quick. But then you have Kevin, the backup quarterback who lost the battle with CJ Cart, Notre Dame, Minchie, and then Aiden Childs from Michigan State. It looked shaky against us, but again, that's a guy that didn't really have anybody blocking for him either. So who knows if he might thrive behind the line, assuming we get one that can pass block, from the jump next year, not just in the back half. There's two Nebraska quarterbacks where, how can you, people around here lose their minds if you don't offer or get like all the homegrown kids to stay home. And this year, especially because they had a super small class by design, because right now I think they said like 92 players on the team are freshmen or sophomores. So I think this is a smaller recruiting class and a bigger transfer class this year, bigger portal class. But Zane Flores, who was a 3-star, didn't get offered by Nebraska, went to Oklahoma State. He's back in the portal. He looked all right, but I think that, not to, you hate to like slam a kid, but I think we made the right decision not offering him. And then you had preferred walkout. If you don't sign a West Side kid, then that they lose their minds. But Anthony Rizak, and he was just a preferred walk-on at Notre Dame, but it's like, why didn't you walk him on Nebraska? It's like, well, don't see him beating out any of the guys here, on scholarship. So I don't think that either of them would be a route to go. And real quick, I can't remember if I said it here last week or if this is just a bar argument, but somebody was going off again about why didn't we get Jet Tamala from West Side. And well, it's like, here's the thing. Dayton Raiola had already committed, and that was like early September of last season. And Tamala wouldn't get his first offer for several more months. So in that case, we'd already gotten our guy, and it happens. I think he's happy with what ended up, him at Alabama. But yes, who are the other guys? Sam Levitt, Malik Murphy, Arch Manning's back up at Texas. Jackson Arnold with 1 year left. He had former 5-star and starter for Oklahoma. And then Connor Wigman, but I can't remember where he's from or what he was. I was just copying down a list. So anyway, that's something we can talk about. Is TJ ready? Will TJ be ready? He's still not at full speed, and Holgerson today said we're just going extra slow. We don't want him full speed until moved around. So it's like, well, is this guy going to get a week of practice in before the bowl game, or is this going to be the last minute? Here comes Jalen Gramstetter or Marcos Davila because he really did tweak his hammy, and you don't want him ripping up his hammy in a bowl game if you're going into next year with him as your expected starter and having to spend the summer and missing spring practice because you're rehabbing a hammy. So I definitely agree with the take it slow approach. Tyler Kanak, I told you before, really interesting guy. If you want to bring him up, we can talk about him. Phil Snow had I was going to do it today, but I just got wiped out. I think I had like a quick fever this afternoon. But Phil Snow had a great interview last week, and I'm going to write a little article about him tomorrow. He put it this way: when I asked him, I got into the question, "Hey, you look pretty excited. Have you thought about maybe throwing your hat back in the ring, becoming a defensive coordinator again?" And he just goes, "No." But he said, "I told my wife I get to do this for 18 days. I get to act like this for 18 days, and then I'm an old man again." I get the feeling he really does enjoy his just job as assistant head coach, and kind of as somebody had said, like being the team Yoda, basically, where he's just that wealth of football information that everybody can just tap in, and he just kind of goes around and offers help. If you want to make fun of Notre Dame, we can.
I do
all
the time.
We're always up for that. I always say, and you see it in this and the next thing I'm going to bring up. The real person comes out when adversity strikes, or in this case, the real athletic director, team, and fan base. And Notre Dame, let's face it, should they have been in? Sure. Should they be in ahead of Alabama? Of course. Now, why do I think it's hilarious? Is it because this is the first time in over 100 years where Notre Dame hasn't, at the very least, gotten anything they wanted, and at the most, there's special rules that make it easier. There's always a special rule for Notre Dame to get in to the playoffs.
Yeah, they kind of did for next year, because now it's like if they're ranked in the top 12, they just get in.
You're in. Yeah, you're in. So so there's adversity. My God, the crying, the bitching, the moaning, the Karen energy, it was just off the charts. The only thing that blew it off the top of just them crying, I mean, I would have to go through like 15, 20x Notre Dame crybaby posts before I could get to something about Nebraska or maybe is Arch Manning going to turn pro or not or
Notre Dame's
whatever.
probably
And then
so
it's
happy for Michigan right now.
yeah. No,
Took
I
all
think
the
they
smoke away
they
from
probably
them.
got mad. Michigan was the one thing that for like a day and a half took over that spot of Notre Dame crying about how they were wrong. You're all afraid of us. It's like, yeah, we're not afraid of you. You are refusing to play, but you do you. And then the Heisman, what a shit show after Mendoza. Well, I shouldn't say that. Julian's saying, he finished fourth, and I think he was most famous for not really being quoted for anything, which is fine when, yeah, dude, you're one who definitely got there because of your teammates. Not that he's not a very, very good quarterback, but everybody was kind of crapping on Mendoza and his, like 27, 2,800 yards passing. These are not the 4,700 yards that so-and-so throws for. Look at Pavia's stats. Look at Jeremiah Love rushing for this many yards. And it was like, well, let's see. Then Pavia goes out partying, carrying around his fuck the Heisman voters and fuck Indiana signs. And then
a lovely night.
Oh God, with his three brothers. And when they showed them all standing together, for me that was hilarious because here's like let's see, Sayin, here's Jeremiah Love, here's Mendoza, Doan, and there's Pavia.
About my height.
Yeah, but the best tweet was they had them all standing together because Mendoza's listed at 6'5". I think Sayin and Love and Pavia are all listed at like 6 foot, maybe Love 6'1". Yeah, maybe Love 6'1". But here's the thing: is it's basically Sayin and Love next to each other, same height. Mendoza towering over all of them, and then Pavia like around the boobs of Love and Sayin. He's like a tit level on those guys, and they're like, well, either one of these guys is lying or three of them are. That was the quote. And so so he goes out and goes batshit, and then all Love does with the Heisman attention on him is tell everyone else in the country they're afraid of us. And then God, it's like it is the guy that I got a lot of likes from was the AD for Notre Dame with his quote of, well, and after those first two losses, we put together one of the best 10-game streaks in the last like 5 decades of college football. I mean, there's like what 7 or 8 of those teams had losing records. There were 2 group of 5s, and I was like, dude, that wasn't even the best 10-game stretch in the state of Indiana just this year. That would be pick your 10-game stretch of Indiana, which includes wins against the 2 top 5 teams they play, Oregon and Ohio State. And it's just insane. And but yeah, so now you know what Notre Dame's like when they not just really adversity strikes because they don't have that much experience with it, but just when you finally don't get your hand held for the first time. And I thought they were in, and I thought they were doubly in because it was Notre Dame.
Well, I thought they'd be in over Alabama.
Always bends over backwards. Yeah,
I didn't understand the yelling towards Miami because if they should have been in over
that went away.
It should have been Alabama.
That went away in a day because after saying that somehow you got screwed that Miami jumped you, and then spend a day or two with the whole country going, they beat you. You guys played and they beat you.
Miami beat them head to head. Of course they're getting in first.
So literally only then did they turn their attention to Alabama and the 3 losses where it should have been the first time. Okay. And also today, funny guy. They snuck in Mark Manning on us for the beginning before Dana Holgerson came out. About 10 till Mark Manning comes in. He's the wrestling coach at Nebraska. Just still has just that full head of white hair. Big, just seen for a wrestling coach, a wrestling guy. This guy's just always seems, not just the walk of life, not in the middle of matches, just happy, smiling. Just a guy that is living the life he really wants to be living. And he walks up to the podium and kind of leans down, looks at everybody, and goes, "Hi guys, Matt Rule here," and it just cracks us up. And there was one guy who's in there. It must be the guy that covers wrestling for somebody, like I don't know if it's Daily Nebraskan or one of the papers, but he was ready with a bunch of questions about guys at each weight and all this. but he didn't really talk much about AJ Ferrari. And for those who don't know who he is, he's this guy. Just Google AJ Ferrari, because he had quite the trip to get to Nebraska for his senior year. With had just a meltdown or two. There was one time where he was going to Iowa, and he wrestles a current Iowa wrestler in some meet before he's actually gone to join Iowa. It's in the off season, and he and this guy, like, they scrape, they get a little pissed at each other. He's a cocky fellow, AJ is, and then after he wins, the Iowa crowd is booing him. Let's put it this way: he never ends up, I think, going to Iowa after that. You got the Iowa crowd booing him, and thing is, he was wrestling at about, I think, 185, 190, somewhere in there, and now he's like 235 and wrestling heavyweight for Nebraska. But he finishes off, and he can do these splits, and he finishes off, pops the splits, and is just double birding the Iowa crowd. So I asked Coach Manning, I said, things appear to be going well. Now I said, AJ Ferrari, who has a colorful background, how is he fitting in? How is everything meshing? Him jumping aboard the number 2 team in the country preseason. And Manning just looks at me, and he's like, just starts smiling and kind of laughing. He's like, he goes, well put there, well put, colorful, perfect way to describe his past. But then he says everything's going fine. They've already got 2 seniors that kind of set the tone, and says AJ's just been happy to be part of the team and all that sort of thing. But he was a fun guy. And then I guess the only other thing I'd mentioned was Brockmeyer, and we talked Brockmeyer. So we got quite a few comments. So I'm going to pick and choose. Drew, you just jump in whenever you want. Let's see. We'll start after, is Mylie wearing a Georgia sweater, and see what we can see. Well, Pit Snipe Husker is also, I guess, is our, I guess, just drunk stone guy on the couch putting in the transfer. If I go to LSU, then I ain't got a drinking problem at all. And I don't disagree with that at all. I don't know, but you realize that in that weird, they did that weird poll, or they polled the schools to who sold how much alcohol per game, or how many beers per game or drinks per game. And they did Division I, and I think only about 23 schools answered, and 3 or 4 of those answered just to say they weren't answering. And then Wisconsin came in first, but then they came back to say, it wasn't 210,000 beers a game, it's 21,000, which I don't believe at all. It's Wisconsin, for God's sake. People don't do the jump around without a lot of beer in them. But anyway, Nebraska was deemed to be the number 1 beer drinking school in the country. So
true Midwest numbers.
LSU may sound good, Pit Snipe, but Nebraska, man, there's 2 crowns we hold: the drinking crown and the basketball crown. And we still have the longest winning streak in the nation after taking down number 13 Illinois in their house. Nebraska now ranked 15th in the country, 11-0. What the hell is going on? Somebody flashed a cartoon. I should have downloaded it. And it was a picture of, like, from Marvel or whatever, and they had like the little girl going to Thanos. It's like, so we're the best in basketball now, right? Yes, my child. It's like, what did we have to sacrifice for that? Volleyball. So let's see. What type of show we got going here with a host and Husker gear? Hey, it's only the twice I wore the Georgia hats on, and that was on John's show. I may throw it on, Nebraska Rascal, Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, go Gunner Stockton, folks. Remember, this is Gunner Stockton's step family. My God, we are Bulldog country for Gunner. Hey, look at it this way: he made Paul Feinbaum look like an ass at the beginning of the season. Paul Feinbaum was Arch first team All-American. Arch is winning the Heisman, and Arch is going pro. But Georgia and Gunner had actually had some games in the fire, something Arch hadn't. Oh, Georgia's in a lot of trouble with Arch. Well, Gunner was just the SEC championship game MVP, led the SEC in QBR. Fine season for his first starting year. So we love Gunner here. Just everybody in Bulldog gear. Oh, geez. Drew, I'm gonna let you take this one because you're just looking at it.
Oh yeah, the cat scratching tower. You little weirdo.
The cat scratching tower.
Do you own?
Well, the cat's right there. So if that cat doesn't,
she's hanging out.
If he doesn't start, she doesn't start scratching that pretty quick.
She doesn't ever scratch it. She scratches the tower or all the cardboard on the floor, but she never scratches that tower I got for her.
Probably because you kicked her a couple times for scratching your dildo.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we've done assless chaps and dildos. Let's move on. Look at this. I thought this was coordination with Minnie and Greg. Who the hell are these people and where are the kidnapped regulars? Wade Farr, welcome to the Huskers Happy Hour, brother. You've gotten in. I am Andy Ketterson. This is young Drew Ketterson. If you were here for, I guess you could call her Minnie, but that was Mylie. She's our one of our volleyball writers. So what we were hoping would be a coronation in another week turned out to be a funeral tonight. So come back every time. So yeah, Wade Farr. Let's see. Wade Farr. Yeah, Minnie and Greg are Thursday night. Minnie and Fred are Monday night. So you're a little early.
I'm probably gonna hop off so I can go block shots at a hockey game.
All right, you do that. You remember everything I told you to do. Move those feet, get open.
No.
Don't stand around with the puck. It's lazy hockey.
I'm gonna stand still.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
I'm kicking you off the show. Thanks, Drew. See you later. I mean, get out of here. Okay, it's me. Let's see. These were exactly my questions when Connor stuck his head in. Connor, did you float one? Did it sink? Yeah, because this is never going to turn into the talking about poop show, but since we kind of are right now, I think my favorite two descriptions when I am with people and poop comes up. The runner-up was building castles when you fill it up and it comes out of the water, it sinks and it comes out of the water, and the other one was this little buddy from Syracuse, New York, who was a friend of a friend and was visiting us in Lincoln when we were down there. And poop came up and he had still a pained look on his face. And I haven't really heard it since, although I'm sure others might have, but he referred to it as like shitting a bucket of range balls. Okay, let's move on. Drew would have laughed at that. Let's see. Yeah, well, it's like James Boardman, nice. It's a good thing he didn't pop in wearing a gimp suit. No shit. But where are you going to find a gimp suit that big? Connor's not a small young man. Let's see. Yep, here we go. Basketball is undefeated at least. However, never thought Nebraska be a basketball. I'll tell you what, I love the Danny Nee days. Danny Nee recruited. He put guys in the NBA. Hey, where did the coach who got LeBron his lone Cleveland NBA title play? You're damn right it was Nebraska. And Tyrone Lue was so much fun to watch in college. He was something else. You knew he was going, even if he wasn't like a star, you knew he was going to the NBA. And he got his highlight reel moment when he broke Gary Payton's ankles, where he did the old drive hard, Payton hits the brakes. He does the half dribble backward, like he's backing it out. Payton, who's still not solid, leans in, and then he was just by him in a flash, and Payton sat on his ass and just gave that look at him like, all right, you got me. And Payton has a great you got me look. Oh my God. And you know what I always love to say about Nebraska, with the exception of, I want to say, Tommy Frazier, at one point we have hated probably several quarterbacks before Frazier and every quarterback since. At one point they've been hated. Taylor Martinez, the interview, I can't remember which one of us did it, but got to talk to him after his senior year, and just was a great guy. He said one of the nicest guys he'd ever talked to, just super guy. Loved Nebraska so much, where he was such a straight face. He just kind of had that stone face on the sideline, so you wonder, do you even enjoy what you're doing? But one of the funniest things he had said was as I remember, it's like freshman year. They're like, "What are your goals this season? Win a national title." Everybody's like, "Oh, slow your run, son. My God, this kid's cocky. What the hell?" And so after, like, before his senior year, then they asked, "What are the goals this year?" Okay, they didn't like it when I said win a title, which I thought people here wanted to win titles. So he just said something like, "You know what? I just worry about doing the best I can for my team, my teammates, us maxing out. Why don't you want to win titles?" And so he said at that point, I just gave up, but he goes, "Everybody I meet is super nice. But my God, some of these people." Letters to the editor. I don't know if if Twitter was becoming quite the toxic place it can be now. But yeah, I love Taylor Martinez, and he sent our guy a picture of his foot after getting the surgery that cost him most or a lot of his senior year. I think he was hurt after UCLA. They tried to put him in. He tried to play against Minnesota, but it was clear he just couldn't put hardly any weight on it. That picture of his foot, I don't remember exactly what the surgery was. It looked like he'd been attacked in Friday the 13th, or the Texas Axe murder, not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That foot just looked like it was part of torture. Yeah. I'd settle for another Taylor Martinez. Elijah Pritchett being here now is he was playing at a level at the end of the year. I bet he'd defend Taylor better than he was defended back then. But yeah, Taylor was the guy they jumped on. And Taylor was always going to transfer. Remember that? He was always on his way. And that was one of the reasons I thought Dylan might stay, is the one thing they had in common was they got moved around to 4 different high schools. Now, it didn't really hurt Dylan, but it hurt Taylor because there were coaches that didn't know that he'd gone to Centennial. And then Centennial played Mater Dei, where the blonde kid who was Pete Carroll's quarterback recruit. They played each other, and Centennial beat Mater Dei, like upset them. And Martinez, had like 400 something yards of total offense. He ran for like 250. He threw for 200. And Pete Carroll literally was trying to steal him from us after that. And he stuck with us because we were the only ones that had recruited him. And I still remember he should have been a 4 or 5-star prospect, if nothing else, just for the 40. He was in the Rivals database as 3-star athlete, 40-time 4.7. I don't think Nike knew where he was either. So anyway, yeah, I'd love to have another Taylor Martinez. See what else we got. Got some tally hos to Dylan Raiola. Let's see. Fred Nebraska fired a shot over Minnie. Fred, does Minnie want to make you feel like you need to drink? I'll take a look and see if he answered that. He may just he may keep his mouth shut. Let discretion be the better part of valor there. Everyone is going to eat crow when Dylan wins a natty. LOL. We don't got anyone to throw the ball. In time, we won't have anyone to throw to either. We'll see how this plays out. Right now, what we do need another quarterback. I don't know if they just want to hand the reins over to TJ next year, and is there anybody good in high school willing to come in now behind or fill like Dayton Rail's spot for next year's class. We got Trey Taylor on deck, but we do need to go with more than 2 scholars. Like, we've just gone from 3 scholarship quarterbacks and 1 incoming to 2 scholarship quarterbacks. And I would tell you right now, TJ Lateef is far from proven. He tore up the UCLA defense, in limited touches, like 15 passes, 5 runs. And then I would say he was ineffective against Penn State. Only had about 55. Didn't run for anything. Had like 55 yards passing at halftime. And I think they might have sacked him 3 times. So they got to him a little bit. And then we can talk about the hammy against Iowa at the conditions, but also he was 9 of 27, and it wasn't drops. There were 2 drops, both by Danke in that game. The rest of the time, it was just bad reads and then not getting the ball near people. Now, had the hammy problem. So I mean, when I say far from proven, That's all I mean. I don't mean can't prove himself. He could do very well next year. I would like it if he had another year to develop, but I'm just biting knuckles for him missing these bowl practices, because especially for him, if he is going to be the starter next year, all of these really would have meant something. He is out there and at least working through it, and Eddie's doing light moving, but I'm just getting worried now because beginning of last week, hey, he was out at practice Monday. Oh no, okay, he wasn't in it full, but we expect him to be going faster Wednesday, but we are going to take it slow. And now another week's gone by, and it sounds like we're in the same place. So just the thing I said before the practices started was, remember Quentin Ives. He had sewn up the number 2 spot coming out of the Pinstripe Bowl. First day of fall, holds it through spring. First day of fall practice, tweaks the hammy, and it was always any day now, day by day. But he's not out there. Or if he's out there, he's just walking around. And then he didn't get in. It was probably about 6 weeks, and that's most injuries for players. They come back quicker. The hammy, it just seems like that is constantly slower than anticipated, just simply because when it's a strain, it's just more susceptible to the tear, and you actually have to be pain-free and running hard before you're really ready to jump in at full speed. So I hope, like hell, he's ready for it, because that mountain's high enough already. I hope, like hell, he's ready for the Vegas Bowl. But with hamstrings, I just always have my doubts. I'm not saying he won't make it. I'm just saying it hangs in the back of my mind, and I hope that fear of mine proves to be unfounded. I'm not one of those guys. I told y'all. Fuck that. I want him playing. Let's see what else we got. Here's one that's just the classic middle of the conversation, but I just like the sound of it. Braska Rascal, I've been drinking because of women since I could drink. There we go. I like old music. God, I hated this band. My Sharona is one of the worst songs of all time in my head, and that sets some people my Sharona. Fuck. But yeah, the knack. My Sharona. Well done, Sack. Okay, now this is starting to take a turn. if we do have any women, and I don't think we're a woman heavy outfit here, women make more sense when I'm inebriated. How's that my fault? Oh, pit snipe. This is really what the was it what they call it on Saturday Night, point counterpoint. Jane, you ignorant slut. I really want Jane to have a comeback on this one. Who's the favorite for D-line coach? I forget the name. I'm hoping they announce it. It's LSU's D-line coach, who apparently has a very good reputation as a D-line coach, and even a better one as recruiting. Yeah, boom. Justin came in right after Elijah Robinson. Boom. I'd love to have, just from and I haven't done any in-depth dive, but just the initial things, good rep, good recruiter, and that'll make another good recruiter we've added to staff. So I'm all for that. And here's somebody not believing in Dylan. Only way Dylan wins the Natty is on Xbox on junior varsity level with the offsides turned off. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Fire away. Yeah. So then they argue about that. And hey, sometimes, you'll just need a good crack across the bow. And also, what else is the best is them not being down on here right now. Actually, it's the worst, because their responses to that would be priceless. That didn't come through too well. He was in the room. He came through clear as a bell. Maybe it is. Yeah, he has a very deep bass voice. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is a real soap opera. As the Ketterson's turn, the guiding propel, and damn it, that's where I thought Drew was going to come in. I thought he'd be in here from like 9 to 10, and I thought Mylie would be in here at the first 15 minutes. Hope she's not listening to. She'll stay half hour, and I just have about 30 hours, or 30 minutes to worry about the dry throat. So that, yeah, the guiding propel. Damn it, mouse dry. Just a moment. Come on, kids, take it away. Oh, so good. I don't know if any of you guys on TikTok have caught that one guy or one group or whatever who makes the funniest NFL, like NFL, there's some college in there, but NFL, there are these cartoons. And early this year they were doing these where it's Cam Scattaboo and Jackson Dart getting in fights with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. And Jackson Dart, and they're just making those two the biggest, like, and I was a fraternity guy, but they were just making those two the most perfect frat bros. It's like, come on, Scat, you tell those guys better not talk that shit to me, not after I'm 6 whiskey Mountain Dews deep. And just the idea of how is there's probably a more just imaginary college drink than whiskey Mountain Dews, and then Scattaboo would be threatening to, I'm gonna give him a huh, and then a huh. That's right, bro. Then you'll be on your back. And they had one where it just ended up where you just saw Hurts and Saquon Barkley on the floor, all bruised up, purple eyes and bloody noses. And then here are the two idiots trying to describe what happened. And it was like, well, yeah. So we said, you want to go, bruh? Yeah, bruh. So we're gonna go. Well, then the two of them just started like shoving each other's butts and stuff, and tells Scat, yeah, I said that ain't the way you fight. And so yeah, we just tooled on them. It's good stuff. They do it with the NBA, and probably one of the funniest ones was they had Draymond Green teaching Caitlin Clark, how to be dirty. And the first thing he tells her is, the classic, don't trust anybody. So he's teaching her some stuff, and she's like, all right, I'll try that. And then he just kicks her in the crotch as hard as she can. And she goes down like crying, kind of like an actual game where no one touches her though, but goes down crying. And she's like, why? Why did you do that? And he's like, hey man, I told you not to trust anybody. And she's still laying on the ground, grabbing a crotch. And she goes, I think you shattered it. These guys do some good stuff. Don't show it to your parents. I'm not even going to begin to tell you the one with Michael Jordan talking to Bill Belichick in the hot tub while you can't see his girlfriend, but she is technically in the frame. Just Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick hot tub search on TikTok should bring you what you need. All right. Does Propel make a vodka flavor? No, but vodka makes a vodka flavor, and Propel has an opening that you can pour stuff in as easily as drain stuff out. I haven't tried it with vodka yet. But I've thought about it, and really, I can't see a downside. Kudos to Rule for moving on expeditiously. Agreed, Andy. Yeah, I'm just saying that was always. I'll be honest. That was always my biggest beef. It's like, what's more important to you, keeping your buddy gainfully employed as the ship goes down, but friends, bros before pros, Grams. And he has shown that, yeah, even though these guys are my friends, I will move on. I like his 2 new hires on paper. And for the same reason I say that the only path I see to victory against Utah is the same path that gives me pause in our new two hires. Yes, Florida is on paper 40 points a game. I think they're up to 16.5-point favorites. All that. But I'll tell you, we play a little different level of football here in the Big Ten. This is the hope. I'm not saying there's still not a beating on the table. Oh, and thanks, Kyle Whittingham. Now they're going to try and win one for the frickin' Gipper because you decided to retire before a Vegas Bowl. Oh, Kyle. Kyle still looks like if we had a national college coach Hunger Games, I still think Whittingham would be right up there, on the odds boards as one of the preseason Coach Hunger Games favorites. But hey, remember you remember what Colorado? What did they go 9-3 last year, and we put a hurting on them. Now the only thing against that is Utah in the Pac-12, and now after a rough start this year, they're one of the 3 10-2 teams left out of the playoff. so they got that to be pissed about. So maybe they'll do what a lot of schools do, find this bowl beneath them and think they're just going to waltz to a victory. Ask Bill Snyder. He did that, I think, 3 or 4 times. Deemed the bowl beneath them, and then they got upset. But that's the pathway. It's just that Utah was the most physical team. It seemed like always, at least until Lanning got to Oregon in the Pac-12, and now I think they're the most physical team in the Big 12. Although now Texas Tech has ramped it up or whatever, but their program under Whittingham has always been about physicality. So I don't know that there's as much of a path to us like just overwhelming a Big 12 team. So, but let's hope. Let's see. Sack's still insulting Bill. Good for it. Ketterson kids, this chat is why we can't have nice things. Let's see. Boardman can't beat the flu and Texas A&M at the same time. God damn it, flu. I still haven't gotten over 1996 Big 12 title game against like whatever they were, 7-5 Texas flu. James getting beat by James Brown. Here, going to kiss myself. That's right. Hey, one thing about James Brown for Friday Night Lights, the TV show fans, I can't remember, he had a really cool, cocky name, but in the first season, or was it the second season, they had a kid who was in New Orleans when Katrina hit, and that's when like all the best high school players in New Orleans were dispersing all over the South to different high schools. So they didn't, because like school was just shut down there for pretty much, I don't know if it was a full year, but it sounds like it was for football season. And one of them ended up as, the plug and play quarterback over our buddy Matt Saracen at Dillon High and Friday Night Lights. His stunt double, James, was none other than the Texas James Brown. So good. So when you see the actor disappear, here came James Brown making the runs and the throws, and yeah. So anyway, the flu's bringing back bad memories. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Put these gals in a bubble for the whole season. Yeah, because I don't know what happened with them. With the guys, it seemed pretty obvious because they played Colorado the week before in the freezing rain in Memorial Stadium. It's like 37 degrees and just drizzle and crap and rain, and a lot of them were out there just in their sleeveless football jerseys with the pads sticking out, no shirts underneath, no nothing to show how tough they were, and then everybody got sick. Oh God, let's see. But yeah, maybe we should just make them what do they call it? Whatever in place during COVID. Yeah, you're in the plastic for all fall. Let's do it. We got titles to think of. Let's see. Pitt Snipe says the Frosts were the bane of Wood River politics and schools. Interesting. Well, never have to know. Geep Wade will vastly improve our offense line next year. Tyler was talking about it, and I think, was he the only lineman? Well, I know both Tyler and Dana seem to really like Geep right out of the bat. Said he runs like a more like mobile and intense practice, where Donovan was more about getting all the and maybe that's the slower start too, but making sure they all get it right. And by the end of the season, they were getting it right. I am kind of looking forward, just to stick this in here, to see Mosey and Nelson kind of get their shots. They'll be the top two. Mosey just does not look, does not act, does not sound like a true freshman. He is thick. He stated about, because they were kind of jumping him they were using him at receiver as well as running back, before they finally, for the last few games, just, you are the backup, because he was being the backup running back, but then running set. So they were like, what was it like, because you're a wide receiver and then a running back in the spring, but kind of both. So what are you doing with your weight? And he said he kept his weight at, I think they list him at 250, 210. And he said he was pretty much at 207, 208. And he's thick. He's a 6'2", 207, 208. And I'm just looking at him going, and that's a true freshman body. And he came in as a wide receiver. Holy crap. But yeah, then he just carries himself really well. First time, you can tell some of these guys have the nerves going first time, and not there's anything scary about us, but anybody who's ever done that public speaking, that first time you stand up and look at the room, the only way it can be more nerves is singing. And I will tell you, I'm really glad that I started doing some speech competitions and things like that, and taking speech classes when I think the first year was when I came out here and it was in 8th grade. Did it in 8th and 9th grade, and then in 10th grade I solo for the first time in front of like the full auditorium for the old like winter or fall. We do a fall performance, and geez, there's that moment where you just want to run backstage. It's like I would rather, and did get flattened in football or fire up that air ball in basketball than hit a bad note singing in front of an audience. It's that is real fear. It's yeah. I remember for those fans of Apocalypse Now, you had G.D. Spradlin, I think, tell Martin Sheen there were these real prickly, huge-looking prawns they were eating in Vietnam. With Spradlin's a general, and Sheen's the special forces captain, and he passes those prawns and says, "If you eat one of those, you'll never need to prove your bravery to me in any other way." I'd put that prawn at a second, but behind singing in public, man. Trust me. Let's see. But yeah, Tyler Knack, another one. Yeah, it was not his first time speaking in front of a group. And then then here came Mackay Nelson, and he wasn't like, he didn't look quite as, hey, I speak in public, but you just had to ask him you had to ask him the right thing, and he'd give you a great answer. And he's just he and Ja'Cory Barney walk in, and everybody, I looked around like the second time it happened with Barney, everybody starts smiling because these guys are smiling. They just kind of lift up the room a little bit. And I love the guys that kind of have that, the athletes that have that type of charisma. Let's see here. More Wood River talk. Oh, Wade Farr said bye-bye about an hour ago. Bye, Wade. Thanks for popping in, buddy. If you're doing the rewatch. That out of here. Joe Tess. I'm not going back to find the whole thing, but Joe Test's still open, and I think it's been closed for a while. But yeah, that was where you went for greasy fried catfish, if I remember. Oh, here we go. So, I'll tell you what. I just put this up because Pitt says there's some soul food restaurants in Detroit that beat the hell out of anything in Ann Arbor. My thought on that, yeah, I mean, Ann Arbor is just a college town, man. If there's anything in Ann Arbor that can touch Detroit for soul food, then something the hell is wrong with Detroit. Because that's just what I would call an assumption right there. Got to give Sharon more credit. He did not lie. His first press conference he said, "We'll smash." I'll say that one. That one Mylie read. Sat goes, "I like this son of Andy." Yeah, I figured, anytime you're bringing on the family members, people got to wonder, oh, you just trying to, use your position to do this with your kid. Well, A, yeah, of course. B, I don't feel like I'm sneaking him on Fox Big Noon Sunday or ESPN Game Day. But third, yeah, hey, and then B, then third. I figured you guys would enjoy him. He's a pretty he, he's a pretty enjoyable kid, and he always has been. When we moved him, we had him change schools, and so I went to Brownell, so he goes to Brownell and enters as a freshman. And the thing is, that's a school where you can start with kindergartner. So you have some of I guess that was a class where you had a chunk of the class that had been through like 5-6+ years together and are hitting high school. And the head of upper school there had told me like about a month into the year, he said it was kind of crazy because they always take they take them on some sort of a weekend, a cabin or someplace, a retreat, and said he came out of that and he goes, and a class of guys that had been tight for a long time said he felt he was walking around and just felt like someone who'd been there with him the whole time, and they'd known him for they'd known him for a couple of weeks. So that he I tell you what, he's a better people person than I am. Let's put it that way. Again, maybe a low bar. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. Michigan hockey. Yeah, the coach. Men's basketball, Jawan, and football. Yeah, has all had scandalous shit. Athletic department in disarray. Yeah, it's really fun. They're another school, kind of like Notre Dame. It happens to them. Oh no, it's all bullshit. This is Michigan men here. No. Adversity hits you, and now I think they have the school president saying they now are undergoing an investigation, top to bottom, of just how the athletic department's being run. About time. About time. I mean, you put up with it because here in 2020, the COVID year, we are basically in the same position as Michigan, not getting it done. It's not happening for our guy because that year we go 3-5. Michigan goes 2-4 and then taps out of the COVID season. Now we're done. And okay, so when the going gets rough, the rough quit. I mean, there was Minnesota playing with like 40 something guys, and I don't remember hearing the Michigan roster was COVIDed in half, but then all of a sudden they start winning and making title runs in 21, 22, 23, and then we found out why. Yeah, it wasn't just a one season thing. But then when here comes all the truth, there's all those Michigan lawyers without law degrees just defending it every way possible. Yeah, adversity hit, mistakes were made. How do you react? You sweep it under the rug until you can't drive a Volkswagen over the rug. And now, hey, let's take a look at this. So yeah. Oh yeah. Another school. Oh man. I'll give them credit. At least they tried to get Pat Fitzgerald out of there with some of the stain on him, and there just wasn't the incriminating documents because he was smart enough not to ever talk on the phone or send an email about it. Yeah, Michigan's got a hot mess to clean up. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Iowa and their discrimination suit where they had 20 something former players. The last they did there was Kirk Ferentz disbanded his unity council that he was furious about in the first place because, he was one of the three guys cited as being the biggest part of the problem, and then freaked out and said they should have fought the $4.3 million settlement. It would have been dismissed with prejudice. And well, the actual lawyer for the state, who was very conservative, let's just call it that, like Kirk, said, no, we will lose a lot more than $4 million. We're doing this and your athletic department's paying for it. So yeah. Okay, here we go. True story. I wrestled in a tournament with the flu, lost, won, somehow crushed the guy, then got killed when my energy. I played a basketball game with the flu, and it's one of those where because the temp has to be down a certain level, or it has to be about to go. And I've had a couple times where I start running around and drop the temp, whatever. But I've done that, and yeah, you can get through it, but it does come with a expiration date on the trying to play through it timeline. Is the now you all but die. And I remember it's like this after the game, and that night was probably worse than the playing through it. And I will be the first to admit, I mean, I'd play all minutes of the basketball games and it'd bust my ass. Wrestling's a different animal. And so yeah, it's like I can imagine. So people say I can't imagine doing this, and I'll say I can imagine trying to wrestle through it. It's not something I ever fucking desire to do. Put it that way. Wrestling is a different beast. Yeah, Bergen's backup setter was Maisie. looked like they were mostly bringing her in to serve, but maybe I was missing that because I thought Bergen pretty much played through it. Sharon Moore coaching career over. He it's not going to be much. They always throw around the max sentence. He's gonna, yeah, I imagine that's his first offense of any kind. Yeah, hey, first time you've been caught. So it's just a matter, are you going to have to do like 6 to 12 months of time? Yeah, because right now, yeah, coaching's done for possibly ever, definitely for the near future. If it does get a startup, it is going to be in some high school somewhere that they hope the press doesn't catch wind of it, which they always do. But yeah, right now his big worry is, did my inability to take a breakup and my reaction to that, is that going to land me with a felony conviction and some time in actual prison? Because I don't think for assault and home invasion and that type of thing, I don't think you get club. You don't get the tennis golf course club prison sentences for that. Okay, let's see. Although who knows? He was a Michigan coach. Maybe they make that happen up there. Um, let's see. Said something. I don't know what you guys were talking about. It says Petrino is head coach in Arkansas again. So they did. Because I thought he was just going to do it for the 1 year and quit, but they talked him into staying around. He did a nice job, man. Just keep him off the motorcycles and away from the women, I guess. Yeah, at least when he had his woman troubles, just most everything was assumed or whatever. I think they had to confess. But yeah, the rule there is don't drive around on your motorcycle. And here's the other reason Sharon Moore probably shouldn't coach again. When he got fired from his job that pays him a ton and at least supports the family he's cheating on, what was his first concern? His first concern was not, oh my God, what's going to happen to my team? I've just left him in the lurch before a bowl game. Shoot, because at that point he hasn't really done the restraining order type stuff yet. I guess. Well, he was calling her a bunch. I guess that's what got him fired. But at that point, maybe you can still. I don't even know what you can do. But his first concern is not his group of 100 and something players. His first is his side piece. Not even the family, the girlfriend. So not the team, not the family. So let's put it in like what's the better order. Apologies. Not the family. The team then? Not the team. The side piece. The girlfriend. That became his like. It's like, God, yeah, everyone's had a bad breakup. Everyone sent that late night text maybe or two. Dude, storming the home. Let's see. Oh, here you go on back on disease. Yeah, let's just get off of Michigan's more weird problems there. Mono sucks, so does bronchitis. Another season, I caught that, coughed till I puked, lost 14 pounds, fell to 160 for a hot minute. Wrestled a kid from Elkhorn, looked like Ivan Drago. Ouch. I had a friend who wrestled, this was in college, and I don't know if you guys remember, so just some of the athletes around like the 80, 81, 82 there were insane. And one of those, and I think he ended up starting at Nebraska for probably 3 years maybe, was Stan Parker, Bellevue West, I believe. And like, it was one of those like 6'5", 270 ripped dudes. Well, one buddy of mine, Bob Priest, Bobo, if you're listening, I believe you told me this story about, was it the state tournament or just a regular tournament? I thought it was state tournament, but the stories get better as the years go by. But he got to wrestle Stan Parker. Told us, and Stan would go on to win. I think that might have been, his second straight state title. And Bob was probably about 5'9", maybe a trim Bob was like 220, something like that, 220, 230. And we asked him how that match went. He's like, I went out and did this. He did that. He put me on my back. The ref went, and it was over. it just got flattened. And yeah, and I was like, I'd seen Stan Parker, and I wouldn't want to wrestle him either. And I'm not close to as big as Bob was, not even in the ballpark. There was also Pernell Gatson. I think he was a central quarterback, and he was also a state champion wrestler, like one of the 160 something weights. And I can't remember if that's like 168. But then I think he had walked on and was playing football, or might have been on scholarship, but he was playing football, so he didn't wrestle. But they would have a intramural wrestling tournament, and we had a guy who was about Purnell's size in our house who would wrestle for just kind of southwest of, like, south of Lincoln, southwest of Omaha, Beatrice, and he told me that Gatson was wrestling that, and I'm like, he won. He goes, like, I think this is our freshman year. So Purnell, I can't remember if he was a year older or our age, if he was an 81 or an 82, but he was either going into that intramural tournament as a freshman or a sophomore and just going through it like a hot knife through butter. So yeah, I love a good wrestling story. I always thought it was funny when somebody would try to fight a wrestler and just find themselves, on the ground in an embarrassing position, getting turned into a pretzel, and probably the wrestler getting one hand free to wrap him in the teeth a few times and let him know he'd made a bad life decision. Let's see. No, we're done with Sharon Moore. No more Sharon Moore. We're getting near 2 hours, and I don't want to spend the last. We're not going 2.5 hours tonight, guys. I don't know what it was. I was going to do some of this writing and some tweeting, and I came back and I felt fine. And then I just started feeling kind of, why am I so weak and tired? I haven't really done anything yet except drive to Lincoln and back. And then ended up taking like an hour and a half. I just said, I've got like hungover, sleep deprived, but I've got to lay down, and just popped a few Advil, laid down, slept for like an hour and a half, woke up great. So something was going on. Anyway, so yeah, didn't prepare a lot, let's say. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. I love Mylie checking the questions for volleyball questions. Good for you. Yeah, we're probably not going to get the end of these, but I don't want to jump the middle ones tonight, and so that's what we'll try and hit for the last 7 minutes. And I'll try to keep, if it's something that's one of my trigger rants, I'll try and keep that one. I'll try and keep that one a little silent. Lou Holtz could spit a fire out. Yeah, let's fucking. Oh God, there's not too many. Notre Dame obviously don't like it. It's not like, and I've said this, it's not because you're dirtier than everybody else. You're the classic, you think you're better than us, huh, buddy? How would they say in Boston? Oh, you think you're better than us. And they do. And you can, if you didn't believe that, if you truly didn't believe it, then I just say go back to the the whole week after selection Sunday or whatever, would they, pick the field. And they're all but saying they're better than us. They're saying it. A lot of them are just flat saying it. And that's just all the more reason I enjoy what happened to him. Sure, he should have been there in front of Alabama. The fact he went after Miami first was comical, not well thought out. Because it was just, like I said, a couple of days of they beat you. You played. Well, guys said great. Hey, when you're trying to make the decision on the last two teams, you're looking for every measurable. And in this case, you've got the measurable that trumps all others, head to head. And now let's say you're in different spots a little bit. You don't just base it on that one game. If they beat you head to head, but then you ripped off, like, let's say a 10-game streak where you beat like 4 top 10 teams, while, after starting 0-2, so you finish on the heater, you've got a more impressive record, because the overall strength of schedules for the both were right there. They were both in the 40s. A few of them had each in the 30s, but they were basically even there. Their records are the same. You got head to head. You don't have like, hey, you're both 10-2, but after those guys beat you by a point, they lost to 2 really bad teams, and you beat 5 top 10 teams and whatever. No, you got some pretty even measurables there, unless you start cherry picking from the schedule here and there. So, but then turn to Alabama, where you should have been in the first place. It's just, for me, you finally didn't get your way, and it drives you crazy, because the NCAA has been, and the media have been humping you and scratching you behind the ears and bending over backwards for 100 years. So for that reason and that reason alone, it's so entertaining, as is their reaction. And Lou Holtz was, Lou Holtz, man, when he left Notre Dame, they were in enough trouble to get the death penalty. They absolutely had crossed the threshold of loss of institutional control. I think the worst case they had was one of their big boosters was a female who was basically in a relationship with was Mackey. Was that their All-American tight end? Ah, shit. Because there was also a Mackey back in the 60s, and I might be confusing the two for the Colts. But yeah, she was basically sleeping with this guy and raining him. I mean, he was a man whore. She was raining the cash on him, the stereo, the cars, and that was just the worst. But we, luckily for Notre Dame, because it would have been interesting if they were the first to meet that threshold to watch the NCAA squirm out of having to give them the death penalty. Because what they did was now you've got SMU, who I think got slapped with it, 82, 83, without football for 2 years. And now you got 3 years of how they are just getting spanked like a redheaded stepchild. It's not getting any better. So the NCAA is already at a point where they're getting ready to say, and then when Notre Dame becomes the next case to hit them, they just get like 2 years of like some like no bowl probation. They didn't like going to bowls anyway. You might drop in the rankings. But they, after that, from what I understand, and now decades more of history has proven it out, is that they weren't going to take the death penalty off the books, because that means admitting you were wrong, and you can't ever admit you're wrong. But they were going to agree that it was never going to be, they were always going to stop short of the 2-year ban. They weren't like the death penalty, the actual death penalty. They were going to getting rid of the program bans, because it ended up, I think, taking SMU like 25, 30 years to get back to a bowl game. Took them how many years to even win a game? So Notre Dame kind of cemented the decision. We're never doing this again. Lou Holtz list made Dusty Rhodes jealous. Are you talking about Dusty Rhodes, the American dream, brother? I love Dusty Rhodes. I always loved how the what they called the Dusty finish, where, because Dusty Rhodes, did a lot of the script writing as well as wrestling as the American Dream, and he was the master of the Dusty finish, where you'd have like a Starcade, and you would have the champ who'd held the belt forever, and it's always like, who's going to take that belt away? And you didn't want him to have it like, they didn't really want any more like 9-year Bruno Sammartino runs, but so Dusty would have them lose it, but he'd still want him to be champ. So what would happen was, on the Sunday night, the pay-per-view, whatever, Starcade, whatever the hell it'd be, whoever had held the belt for like most of that year, here's the upset baby, and the baby face gets over, and we got a new champ, and it's the big celebration in the ring. Well, then on the Monday night show, they would find some clause in the contract or some other stupid reason to go, there's a rematch right now, and have them fight again, and the old champ would come in and like shockingly take it right back, and now you still got your old champ. And that's why they always called like winning it, like on that Sunday night, the reverse, they call it the Dusty finish. So Dusty, good deal, man. As we wind toward the end, Dusty Rhodes coming up is fine. Lou Holtz's teeth would fly out while speaking on ESPN. Oh man, I always felt like Mark May and Trev Alberts needed those like big hazmat frickin' plastic shields on from loose spitting all over the place. I always remember, and this is before Trev goes to UNO, and then anybody associated with UNO wrestling and football hate him forever, no matter what he did. Even though it did amount to pulling UNO's athletic department out of a huge red hole and making them profitable again with the D1 move and the elimination. I never figured the wrestling one as much. I figured maybe that was just Title IX numbers coming in, but I'm not here to argue about that, or I will hear some shit from somebody, and I've already fought that fight for the last time I'm ever going to. But the thing I remember is how Trev would just destroy those two on game day. Because you had Lou Holtz, Granny, just try that coach's thing where he'd try to act like he knew football was hilarious, but then Mark May really couldn't put a point together that well. And Trev would just die. Whatever these guys came up with their hot takes, Trev would just eviscerate these guys, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I try to remember the good times. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Pitt's night, Michigan is just one big roadside truck stop, strip club, and Motown. Yeah, but Motown has nothing to do with those Michigan sports that I mean, what did Eric Hartman call his name in South Park? Stop doing that. Stop doing that to your women, doctors. Although now then Ohio State's like, hey, Michigan ain't beating us at that, and had a doctor that was worse, probably worse than the two of those other ones combined. The Michigan, I forget his name because he came in a little under the radar when they got him, but the Larry Nasser. Yeah, the dude at Ohio State. If you ever watched that show on HBO, it's worth watching once just to be disgusted and know that worse things than Penn State do happen. And this was, in sheer numbers, it dwarfed Penn State. Let's put it that way. In sheer sexual assault numbers. All right, but we're not talking about. Okay, now I've covered Ohio and Michigan, you freaks, and you're mad at us for scheduling Tennessee, Chattanooga, because Wisconsin couldn't stay out of the bars after their first game in COVID 2020, and we were the bad guys for just trying to find a game. And they had tighter regulations than the Big Ten did. Oh God, fuck you, Big Ten. Fred feels about Lou, I think, the way I do. Lou Holtz's teeth were just George Washington's wooden teeth painted whitish. How dare you, Fred Sacco? Fred Sacco, I don't have to listen to this. So the guy on Pat McAfee who does the Lou Holtz, if you ever go to it, find the segment where that guy does Lou, just like Pat McAfee show Lou Holtz impression. TikTok will have it, and it's the funniest thing ever. It's like he's acting like Lou Holtz, bitching about how he's written Brian Kelly all these handwritten letters, like he's done to everybody, and not one single time did he ever write me back that big piece of shit. And he's just doing, and I'm not doing the Lou Holtz impression well there because it's been a while since I heard him talk. This guy just had him spot on. Like he's talking about Manti Te'o, and he's like, he's a good us, that one. Like us is what the Islanders call each other. And he goes, it wasn't a Catholic, and I don't like that. It is about 3 or 4 minutes of comedy gold. Remember it, Pat McAfee, Lou Holtz impression. You will not regret it. Let's see. Yeah. Lou Holtz can't pronounce Lou Holtz. He can't say pronounce either. Suffer and succotash, Lou Holtz. Let's see. Well, I tell you what, I'm an hour and 20 minutes behind in the comments. We're 2 hours and 3 minutes in. I'm going to read some of these after I get off the air, but let's just, what the hell? Who's this guy? There's some guy puts in there, Andy grabbed my eggplant without consent, quit YouTube creep. There's some guy that puts in weird comments before the show, and I deleted the comment tonight because it didn't make any, it was supposed to be an insult, but it didn't really make any sense. So I see this guy just did it nonstop for a while, and I think you guys have seen it too. So this one just gets the ban user and delete their comments. Yeah, that cleaned it up some. That got rid of a few. now there's not. Oh God, I was like, what the hell is this weirdo's problem? He might be the Fred Sacco impersonator too, because that's the first time I ever ran into that. Where it's like, wow, Fred's weird, but Fred's funny, and this guy just is odd. Let's see. Well, Justin here's he's making a case for Alabama. I totally understand why they're in. Plus, their third loss was to a team they beat in the regular season, and that team is in the playoffs. And I can see that. My only problem is, I don't know. It's like I'm not totally down with the hey, you shouldn't be punished for making a title game. And, you know, and that's basically for the 2 lost teams, because that's what they were saying. But they really only applied it to Bama. They didn't apply it to BYU, who lost to Texas Tech, you know, who's ranked up. They're up there close to, they're fourth, Georgia's third, and they lost by 24. Bama lost by 21. So you're talking about 2 defeats to very similarly ranked teams, and one, was it, did they not drop at all, or did they drop one, but the other one gets dropped a few spots? And yeah, because I'm saying, well, if we're making the case for Alabama and we're saying Alabama's better than Notre Dame, then I don't know. I'd have to see. I think BYU's strength of schedule might have been a little lower, but I don't think it was much lower, because Notre Dame's was in the 40s. You look at those 10 wins. That's a pretty shitty string there. And that, like, they're hanging it all on their 2 losses. So I don't know. That's the thing is, I can make the case for Alabama, but I'm also for kind of the 3. You know, I don't want really 3 losses there in the top 12. But then you go back to, you have teams already bailing out on their 3, since they, you know, basically have now forced everybody to 9-game conference schedules. Everybody is getting rid of a tough game in their 3 non-conference, because they feel they're still being penalized if they lose it, that they'll get more gain from beating a fucking Houston Christian than they will from taking a loss to an Ohio State or a Georgia. And kind of goes that way. So, you know, when I look at it that way, then I kind of see the point for Alabama. Alabama's schedule was way better than Notre Dame's. It was top 10. You know, you played Georgia twice in there. Yeah, so I see it too. I see it too. And also it pisses off Notre Dame. Okay, let's see. Talking food. Oh God, I thought it was another string of like shit talk copied, but it was just Joel, and it was all fine. Joel finished off here. He left about 16 minutes ago. So if you're listening, if you're just off and listening, good night, Joel. If not, well, we'll tell you next week if we think of it, and we probably won't, because shit, I'm tired. Pat Fitzgerald, new head coach of Michigan State. Yeah, my feelings on that, you know, the way he started going, I've been exonerated. No, you weren't. They just couldn't prove it. Shut up. And so my thoughts there are with Pat Fitzgerald. One, I think he knew about it. I think he knew everything he knew about it. I think you're just not stupid enough, because it was going on when he was an assistant. Was he an assistant there before he was the head coach? Because he took over for Barnett, and it started with Barnett. Shocker, with the shit that went on when he was at Colorado. I like Joel Klatt's show. I enjoy what I learned on that show. It's a nice way just for me to catch up on more of the national stuff. But he played for Gary Barnett. He speaks of him being this wonderful dude, and it's like, no, you let multiple rape scandals happen, and for which no one was ever punished. No, Barnett was not a good guy. He was a perfect coach for Colorado. Let's put it that way. And I love that we sent him on the way off, because I think that was Barnett. We beat 37-zip, and then in the final game, after they'd won, you know, the Big 12 North, and then Texas ushered him out the door with a 70-3 win. So yeah, to you. But yeah, Pat Fitzgerald. Yeah, what I was going to say is, you knew what was going on, in which case you should never coach again, because you let it happen for years. Or possibly worse yet, it was going. I mean, obviously it was going on for years before you got there, kept going on after you got there for however many years you were there. And if your story is you didn't know what was going on, and that's the truth, that's worse. That's supposed to make me feel better about letting my kid play for you? No. Fuck off all the way, man. That is terrible. And that's one of those things where it's like, hey, you wouldn't say that to his face. I'm like, well, you know, not just in an alley to get the crap kicked out of you by Pat Fitzgerald, but you bring me on a show with him and have him try to defend it. If it would make me mad. It's like, your story is you didn't know, and they've proven it went on. I'd be fine going, then I don't want my kid anywhere near your program because you are so clueless. You don't know this is going on right underneath your nose. And that's the story you're sticking by. No, Pat Fitzgerald. You know what? I would rather have Sharon Moore coaching again before Pat Fitzgerald. Holy crap. Because watch it, young men just being forced to go through that nonsense. Yeah. I don't think either of them should coach again. Tell you that. Let's put it that way. But if you force me to pick one or the other, there you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just so Joel got on a run there at the end. But yeah, he was like the Big 12 puke fest, and that was one where knew a guy who knew the bus driver who confirmed, no reason to lie, that this guy just said, you have these guys just look like death warmed over. Like, it's like I opened the door, they're going by, and it's just everybody's just pale. There had been some, it wasn't like just a fest, but guys were not feeling well. All right, I think we are done for the evening. I love this at the very bottom of everything. After that one weird comment that was copied a ton. Pastoral Truth 1449 was banned and their comments were removed. So with that, for you, I have a Go Big Red. What is today? The 16th, 15th, 16th, 16th. So yes, there will be a 23rd episode. There should be a 30th episode. That should be my first full day in Vegas, the day before the game. So there should be I guess game night or night before the game, Huskers Happy Hour, live from Vegas, another one live from a hotel room. All right, the bathroom calls. I must pee. I love you guys. Thanks for popping in. We'll do it again next week. Maybe start talking about Utah a little, but it's time to move on. Maybe the drama's over and we just got to worry about seeing if we can put up a fight in this bowl game. Love you guys. Go Big Red. See you next week.